Skeletal system. The skeletal system is constituted by bones, cartilages, and ligaments. This system provides the shape to the body. Further, bones remain as regions for the attachment of muscle. It also helps to hold weight. Structures like skull protect inner organs. The system is also useful in locomotion. The bones remain as reservoirs of fat and certain minerals. The bone marrow is set for production of erythrocytes. This is skull. This is skull. This is mandible, clavicle, scapula, sternum, humerus, ulna, radius, carpals, metacarpals, phalanges, sacrum, vertebral column, ribs. Femur, fatilla, tibia, fibula, tarsals, metatarsals, phalanges, the complete skeleton. The bones can be long, short, flat, or irregular in shape. Hands and legs have long bones, short bones, or broad shape. Wrist bones and tarsals, ankle bones are shorter. Flat bones are thin and flattened. Skull bones, ribs, sternum, and scapula, shoulder blade are flat bones. Vertebral and facial bones are in shape. Structure of typical long bone. A bone is covered by a double-layered sheath called the periosteum. The outer periosteum is fibrous in nature. It is a dense collagenous layer having blood vessels and nerves. A growing long bone has three regions. The long bony diaphyses are shaped. It is made of a compact bone. Head, neck, body, patellar group, articular cartilage, epiphysis, epiphyseal flat, cancellous bone, compact bone, periosteum, diaphysis, medullary cavity, endosteum. The end of the bone consists of epiphysis. It is made of spongy bone. The outer surface of epiphysis is formed of compact bone, and between the epiphysis and diaphysis, epiphysis or growth plate is found. It is made up of hyaline cartilage. Growth and length of bone occurs at this plate. The cavity inside the epiphysis is called the medullary cavity. This cavity is lined by a membrane called the endosteum. The cavity inside the diaphysis and adults contain yellow marrow. It is mostly adipose tissue. The medullary cavity of the epiphysis contains red marrow concerned with blood cell formation. Dried, prepared bones are used to study skeletal anatomy. The bones are named according to their position in the body. The name bones are divided into two categories: the axial skeleton and appendicular skeleton. The axial skeleton consists of skull, hyoid bone, vertebral column, and thoracic cage. The appendicular skeleton consists of the limbs and their girdles. In human body, there are 206 bones. Of these, 80 are in the axial skeleton and 126 in the appendicular skeleton. Among the bones of axial skeleton, 28 bones are in the skull, 26 bones in the vertebral column, 25 bones in the thoracic cage, and one remain as hyoid bone. Details is found below. Axial skeleton. Axial skeleton, it forms the upright axis of the body. It protects the brain, the spinal cord, and the vital organs found within the thorax. Skull. The human cranial capacity is about 1500 centimeter. It consists of 22 bones. It protects the brain. It supports the organ of vision, hearing, smell, and taste. The lower jaw or mandible remains specially attached to the skull. The skull or cranium is covered by 8 bones. They are one pair each of parietal and temporal. Individual bone is frontal, sphenoid, occipital, and ethmoid. These bones are joined by structures to form compact box-like structure. The structures are immovable. This is skull, you know, frontal bone, parietal bone, eye orbit, sphenoid bone, nasal bone, temporal bone, zygomatic bone, maxilla, mandible. Skull lateral view, parietal bone, occipital bone, temporal bone, suture, frontal bone, sphenoid bone, nasal bone, zygomatic bone, maxilla, mandible. In the front, there are 14 facial bones of these: maxilla, zygomatic, palatine, lacrimal, nasal, and inferior. Nasal remain as paired. Mandible or lower jaw and vomer are unpaired bones. The parietal and occipital bones are major bones on the posterior side of the skull. The parietal bones are joined to the occipital bone at the back. Head is formed of the large and the temporal bone is external auditory meatus. This opening is meant for transmitting sound waves toward the eardrum. On the lateral side, medial to the temporal, the sphenoid bone is seen anterior to the sphenoid bone as the zygomatic bone or cheekbone. It is a prominent bone on the crest. The upper jaw is formed of the maxilla. The mandible constitutes the lower jaw. The major bones seen from the frontal view are the frontal bone, the zygomatic bone, the maxillae, and the mandible. The most prominent openings in the skull are the orbits and the nasal cavity. The two orbits are meant for accommodating the eyes. The bones of the orbits provides protection for the eyes and attachment points. For the muscles that move the eyes, the bones forming the orbits are the frontal, sphenoid, zygomatic, maxilla, lacrimal, ethmoid, and palatine. The head region also contains six or ossicles. They are malleus Ancus, and stapes. A large opening found at the base of the skull is foramen magnum. Through this opening, the medulla oblongata of the brain descends down as the spinal cord vertebrae. The vertebrae make up the slightly S-shaped vertebral column or backbone. The vertebral column consists of 26 bones. They are divided into 5 regions. They are the cervical 7, thoracic 12, lumbar 5, sacral 1, and coccygeal 1, vertebrae 1. Okay. First cervical vertebrae, atlas. Second cervical vertebrae, vertebra, axis, cervical region. Intervertebral disc, thoracic region. Intervertebral foramina. Spinous process, transverse process, lumbar region, sacrum. This one is sacrum. Coccyx, tailbone. Vertebra structure. The main load bearing portion of vertebra is a solid disc of bone called the centrum. The centra of adjacent vertebrae are separated by intervertebral discs of cartilage protecting from the centrum. Dorsally as a vertebral arc. It includes the neural canal. Canal contains the spinal cord. Several bony projections are seen on vertebral arc. On each side of the centrum, there are two transverse processes. On the dorsal side, there is a neural spine. These bony projections are used for attachment of muscles. Further, there are two superior and two inferior processes meant for articulation with the rib, body, spinous process, transverse process, vertebral foramen, vertebral arc, body centrum, no, invertebral body. This one, body centrum, transverse process, spinous process, in vertebral foramen. The first cervical vertebra is the atlas. It balances and supports the head. It has no centrum. The second is the axis. The sacral vertebrae are fused. They form a triangular structure called the sacrum. The coccygeal vertebra has no function. It is a state during development. In the embryonic state, there are nearly 34 vertebrae present. Of these, 5 sacral bones are fused to form a single sacral bone. 4 or 5 coccygeal bones are fused to form a single coccyx. This one is sacrum, coccyx, sacrum and coccyx combinedly. Rib cage. There are 12 pairs of ribs, each articulates with a thoracic vertebra in the front. The first 10 pairs are attached to the sternum, breastbone by costal cartilages. The first 7 are attached directly to the sternum. They are called the true ribs. Cartilages of 8th, 9th, and 10th ribs are fused and attached to 7. They are called the false ribs. 11th, 12th pairs are not attached to the sternum. They are called floating ribs. Clavicle. This one is clavicle, first thoracic vertebra, scapula, humerus, costal cartilage, 12th thoracic vertebra, clavicle, sternum, defined process. This one, a rib cage, total rib cage, appendicular skeleton, lower side. It consists of the bones of the upper and lower limbs and the girdles by which they are attached to the body pectoral girdle. The hands are attached to the pectoral girdle. Both of them are attached loosely by muscles to the body. This arrangement facilitates freedom of movement as it is possible to place the hand in a wide range of positions. Acromion process, glenoid fossa, scapula. This one, scapula. You can study these bones in frogs, pigeons, etc. The pectoral of our shoulder girdle consists of two pairs of bones. Each pair has a scapula or shoulder blade and clavicle or collarbone. The scapula has a flat triangular bone. A glenoid fossa is located in the superior lateral region of the scapula. It articulates with the head of the humerus. The clavicle is a long bone. It has slight S-shaped curve. It can be easily seen and felt. The clavicle holds the upper limb away from the body. Skeleton of arm, clavicle, scapula, humerus, ulna, radius, carpals, metacarpals, phalanges. Pelvic girdle or pelvis. It is a ring of bones formed by the sacrum and fat bones called the coccyx or hip bones. Sacrum, acetabulum, ilium, pubis, ischium, pelvis. Each coxa is formed by the fusion of three bones, namely ilium, ischium, and pubis. A fossa called the acetabulum is located on the lateral surface of each coxa. The acetabulum is meant for the articulation of the lower limbs. Pelvis, this one, pelvis, femur, patella, tibia, fibula, tarsals, metatarsals, phalanges, skeleton of the leg with pelvic girdles, upper limb or hand. The part of the upper limb from shoulder to the elbow is the arm. It contains one long bone called humerus. The head of humerus articulates with the glenoid fossa and of the scapula. The distal end of the bone articulates with the two forearm bones. Forearm. This part of the hand is in between the arm and the wrist. The forearm has two bones. They are ulna and the radius. While the ulna is on the side of the lateral finger, the radius is on lateral or thumb side of the forearm. Wrist. This short region is composed of 8 carpal bones. These are arranged into 2 rows of 4 each. The carpals along with the compartments are arranged in such a way that a tunnel on the interior surface of the wrist called carpal tunnel has been formed. Tendons, nerves, and blood vessels pass through this tunnel to enter the hand. Hand. The bony framework of the hand is formed of 5 metacarpals. They are attached to the carpals in the rest. The concave nature of the palm in the resting position is due to curved arrangement of metacarpals. Carpals, metacarpals, phalanges. Each hand has 5 digits. They include one thumb and 4 fingers. Each digit has small long bones called phalanges. These are phalanges. While the thumb has 2 phalanges, other fingers have 3 each. Lower limb of leg. The general pattern of the lower limb is similar to that of the upper limb. Bone, fibrous corpuscles, articular cartilage, synovial fluid, a synovial joint. The upper region of the leg is the thigh. It contains the single longest bone called the femur. It has prominent rounded head for articulating with the acetabulum of the pelvic girdle. The distal end of the femur has two condyles for articulation with tibia. The knee region has a large flat bone called the patella. It articulates with patellar groove of the femur. Leg. The leg is that part of the leg is that part of the lower limb between the knee and the ankle. It consists of two bones, namely the tibia and the fibula. The tibia is larger. It supports most of the weight of the leg. Ankle. The ankle consists of several tarsal bones. The ankle articulates with the tibia and the fibula through the talus. Foot. It is formed of metatarsals and phalanges. They correspond to the metacarpals and phalanges of the hand. Joint. All bodily movements are caused by muscles. Our skeletal muscles are firmly attached to bones. Movement involving such muscles pull on our bones. Hence, movement need movable bone joints. A joint or an articulation is placed where two bones come together. All joints are not movable. Many joints allow only limited. Joints are named according to the bones that are united. Kind of joints. There are three major kinds of joints. They are the fibrous, cartilaginous, and synovial. Fibrous joints and this type, the joints are united and connective tissue. There is no joint cavity. A syndesmosis to bind between radius and ulna are examples of this type. Cartilaginous joints. These joints unite two bones by means of either hyaline cartilage, semicondrosis, or fibrocartilage symphysis. The articulation between the first rib and the sternum as an example for semicondrosis, symphysis, pubis, and invertebral discs are examples of symphysis. Synovial joints. These joints contain synovial fluid. This fluid is a complex mixture of polysaccharides, proteins, fats, and cells. It forms a thin lubricating film covering the surfaces of a joint, and knee joints are of the type.